the riches of your superstar 2-mile chases over the years. It's been astonishing, isn't it, really?
Well, I think, as you rightly say, where we've been very lucky is one has come along after the other, and that they haven't had to clash. That would have been that. I mean, the fairness one, when Sprinter was around, we had Simon Sieg at the same time, and he was a very, very good horse of his own right. They did do a lot of work together, but they never ran against each other. But whereas when Sprinter retired, Altior was there waiting in the wings, and when Altior retired, Shishkin was just coming through and won his Arkle last year. So he's still got a bit to prove, but we're going to find out a lot more this weekend.
Yeah. Are you excited, Nicky? I mean, I know Shishkin means the world to you, but the whole racing world can't wait for this head-to-head with Energumene.
Well, it was bound. It was going to happen sometime. I don't suppose any of us expected that we'd probably be obstinate or stupid enough to take each other on this early in the season, but it's the race we wanted to go for. Willie wants to come too. There's Kim Bailey's horse as well. So there's, that'll at least guarantee a really good gallop. And this, even from last year, Energumene didn't come over to Cheltenham and consequently, gave Shishkin a rather easier Arkle than it might have been. But the clash was going to have to happen sooner or later. I don't think it necessarily tells you who will win the champion chase, but it's the one thing to be certain is whoever wins on Saturday will be favourite for the champion chase come March. But again, that doesn't mean an awful lot. But a lot of things can happen in the meantime.
Yeah, and clearly your star Nicky has bounced out of Kempton in all guns blazing. I must admit that the images of you enjoying that in the grandstand were one of the best images of the winter so far.
Thank you. I think that was sort of slightly down to the circumstances and a bit of the pressure we'd been put under prior to that when, I wasn't happy with the horse earlier on in the year, and he turned out that he was quite sick. Which a lot of people didn't understand. And, yes, I wanted to run in the Tingle Creek, but we couldn't because he wasn't right. And people have got to understand that if, the horses come first, if they're not right, there's not much point in running them. This time we are coming in with a race under our belt. He's quite considerably lighter weight-wise than he was at Kempton, which I think tells you that there was quite a lot of improvement to come. And Ascot should suit him. He jumped 5 fences this morning and seemed in great form. Nico's ridden him, rode him work last Saturday, and that was all a big thumbs up. So here we go. And I mean, we come in hopefully with no excuses. It's going to be fascinating. As I say, I've been trying to organise a ferry strike all week, but have failed. So I dare say Energumene is going to turn up.
Still time. It's going to be windy, that crossing, Nicky, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't look like it. I think frost's actually our biggest problem.
Yeah, Lingfield are looking, of course, for tomorrow, but the clerk of the course we spoke to today sounds pretty relaxed about things. Hopefully it'll be the same at Ascot, Nicky. Hopefully the weather won't intervene.
I hope so. You've just always got the problem that it's enormous, great grandstand. It sort of does cast a great big shadow all over the whole way down the straight, virtually, which doesn't let a lot of sun into onto the last sort of 2 or 3 furlongs of it. So frost is harder to get out of the ground at Ascot than it is some places.
Yeah. I love looking back. I know we should look forward in life, Nicky, but I love looking back. And, Sprinter Sacre had that brief skirmish with Underso and Altior, of course, with Surname. Looking right the way back, Remittance Man and Travado were great horses, weren't they? But that was an amazing era, wasn't it? Waterloo Boy, Viking Flagship, Deep Sensation, Catabatic. What an era that was, the early 90s.
It was, actually. I mean, you get these sort of spates, don't you, that there are a lot of very good horses in one division. And again, this year's 2 mile division has always looked on paper as if it was going to be a very strong one. And I know Willie's other horse is sort of not playing at the moment, but he'll still come into the equation come Cheltenham, I'm sure. But yeah, I think these are all very, very high class horses, and years to come will probably and hopefully prove that.
Obviously, we're heading to the business end of the season, Nicky. Your high-profile horses, though, couldn't be in much better shape, could they? I mean, they all seem to be excelling at the moment. And another case in point yesterday at Newbury, a lovely horse called Walking on Air won nicely for you. You must be really pleased with how things have gone the first half of the year.
I think so. We've had a few setbacks, but those are to be expected. The novice hurdlers have been, and we always rather sort of thought at the beginning of the season that whereas last year the novice chasers were the strong department, this year the novice hurdlers looked if they might be a very decent bunch. And I think, you know, with Jonbon's and Constitution Hill, Balco Coastal, I've to put in there along, and now Walking on Air, they do look, you know, there for the future, really. So we've got a lot to look forward to.
You have indeed. Is Jonbon still Haydock bound?
Yeah, he's going to Haydock on Saturday, indeed, for the Rossington Main.
Yeah.
He just needs another run before, and just to sort of settle him down a little bit, if anything. And so it won't be very nice ground up there, I don't expect, but I think he's doing good.
Nicky, will what happens at Haydock frame your judgment strongly as to where you go come Cheltenham?
At the moment, I would say that Jonbon and Constitution are almost certain to take each other on in the Supreme. I can't see any reason to move either of them up to 2.5. I think they both get 2.5 if we so wanted, but they're different owners. They both have the right to be there. Aiden's been riding Jonbon, Nico's been riding Constitution Hill, so there's no need for any change of plans there. I think unless one owner decides he wants to switch to 2.5, then the chances are they'll take each other on. Wow,
that'd be absolutely fascinating, Nicky. So basically, you leave it.
Willie's got 2 as well, hasn't he? So it's not just about us. It's, as I say, Willie's got 2 very good 2-milers as well. I thought the horse was very impressive last Sunday. So, you know, it's not going to be... Once Willie and that Irish team are taking us on, nothing's easy.
But Nicky, for all of us, it is great to see these wonderful horses, some of them young, inexperienced, I know, but they all look so talented, and we as racing fans want to see the action, don't we?
We do. Yeah, as I say, Constitution Hill won't run again before it, but it's going to be fascinating. And I say their horses, hopefully, with big futures. They're both potential chasers. They both won point-to-points in Ireland before they came over here. And if they take each other on, there's one thing sure is one of them is going to get beaten. Hope not both.
Well, Nicky, that's all to look forward to in the somewhat more removed future. But the immediate future, Lingfield's Big Millions meeting starts tomorrow. You've got 3 entries tomorrow, including on the blind side in the Kazoo Hurdle. I mean, he didn't seem to run great at Cheltenham. Is he OK?
Yeah, he's fine. And this race is actually made for him because it takes out the Grade 1 horses, which, you know, he's a wonderfully consistent person, and he had a great time last season. Just that he's not a Group 1 horse. He's just below that standard, and this race they're disallowed, and it's just that 1 degree below a race like Cheltenham, which that wasn't his greatest run, but he's in very good form. He worked beautifully on Saturday, and we're looking forward to, you know, this is a lovely race for him.
And, you know, he likes to be up there, doesn't he? If not make the running, be very close to the pace. Lingfield could really suit him nicely.
Yes, I think we can expect Lingfield ground. But I mean, having said that, we've got to compliment everybody on putting this weekend on, because it's a huge amount of prize money to be putting on the 2 days, Friday and Saturday. And it's great credit to ARC. You know, we want to support it. So I do hope the frost doesn't get in the way, and there'll be a fascinating weekend's racing.
Yeah, it would. And Colonial Dreams and Neil the Legend both entered for you as well. Neil the Legend bolted up at Warwick on New Year's Eve, Nicky. Did that come as a pleasant surprise?
Yes, a little bit. He's a very likable character, but he's just a very good, honest sort of horse. He's not surprisingly gone up in the weights a bit, but you know, this for him is a big prize. So this is his Gold Cup tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So good luck to all three of those. Are you going to let Fusil Raffles loose at Ascot as well this weekend, Nicky?
No, he doesn't. He's going to wait either for Cheltenham next weekend, or actually either Cheltenham or Doncaster. I think it's probably where he'll go, over to 2 mile 5.
OK. So maybe we'll see him at Doncaster. Would that be in the Sky Bet?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah. OK, lovely.
Good ground will help him up there, wherever the ground's better.
Sure. And, of course, horrible ground was largely the undoing of Chantry House at Kempton over Christmas. Is he OK, Nicky?
He's in really good form. He schooled this morning as well. He seems in very good form. He's going to Cheltenham next weekend for the Cotswold Chase. I'm not sure it was the ground at Kempton as much as Kempton's a sort of unique track, and we knew they'd go off very quick. And that's the first time he's had to race against older horses in a bigger field. They jump off and go from flagfall, and it just caught him out a little bit early on. And, you know, Nico he had to be kind to him, to be fair, in the end. And hopefully we'll see the real Chantry House back at his best next weekend.
Nicky, it's been such a pleasure speaking to you, and thank you for your time. But sadly, we have to end our chat with really sad news reaching us that your 2013 Gold Cup winner, Bobsworth, has sadly met with an untimely end. He's had an accident. Sorry if I'm breaking that to you, Nicky, but...
No, sadly, we've heard this news this morning. Charlie Vigas rang me earlier on this morning, and it's tragic news. It really is. He was... You can call a lot of things legends, but Bob was one of them. And he was a fellow that we'll never forget. We had some just fantastic times. 3 consecutive Cheltenham Festival, 3 different festival races. And he was just, he would die for you. And sadly, he has died, and having the most wonderful retirement. He was only 17, and he could have had another 10 years of what he was doing with Charlie Vigas and their boys who rode him every day. And I feel desperate for them as much as I do, you know, everybody that was connected with him, with us. And I have just spoken to Barry Geraghty, who I actually bought him off in the first place. And he rode him throughout his amazing career, which included obviously the 3 Cheltenham Festivals, the Hennessy Gold Cup, Lexus Chase in Ireland. He was an absolute legend, and it wasn't that he was brilliant. He would just drop for you. And every time he came up that Cheltenham Hill, he just put his head down and fought and fought and fought. And no, it's tragic and very, very sad news. And, you know, we're all, Seven Barrows is sad, but very sad. And, you know, all our figures go out to Charlie Vigas, and his family have looked after him since he retired, and all his owners who I know had all that fun with him, but they'll miss him too.
Yeah. What a lovely tribute to a great Gold Cup winner, Nicky. Thank you very much indeed. And here's hoping that some of those lovely young horses we've spent the last 10 minutes talking about can go on and do half as much, maybe. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Well, he was something to... If ever there was a sort of horse that young horses ought to take a leaf out of the book, Bobsworth was the one to learn from.
Nicky, wherever your final destination today, safe travels, and I can't thank you enough for your time today. Thank you.
Pleasure, not at all.
All the very best for the weekend. Nicky Henderson there, talking all sorts with regard to the weekend, Cheltenham, and tributes there to the great Bob's Worth.